Hi, my name is Katie, and I'm one of the museum educators at the Hastings Museum. In today's Museum Minute, we are going to talk all about fossils and paleontologists. If you've been to the Hastings Museum before, you've likely seen our hanging Cretaceous sea models. The first one we're going to talk about is the Tyrannosaurus right behind me. He's the long blue-green guy. We're going to check out his mouth first. Look closely. Does he have really sharp teeth or really flat teeth? Sharp teeth. Those sharp teeth are great for eating meat. We would call him a carnivore. So he would eat basically any ocean life that's smaller than him. Next to him, we have the Xiphactinus fish. I want you to do the same thing. Look at his teeth. Are they sharp or are they flat? Right, he has sharp teeth too. He would eat other small fish with those really sharp teeth. Do you guys remember what we called meat eaters? Carnivore, awesome. Later we'll check out more of their teeth. Do you guys know the name of the scientists that study fossils? They're called paleontologists, and it's because of paleontologists and them studying fossils that we're able to make models like the ones right behind us. Next, let's go make a fossil. To make a fossil, you're going to need to gather a few materials first. If you have any plastic animal toys, grab one of those, either clay or Play-Doh, and then something to protect the surface that you're working on. So the first part of making a fossil is you need ground. In our case, since we're talking about the Cretaceous Sea, my ground is going to be the ocean floor. If you have a dinosaur or a land animal, your ground would be like the ground we walk on. So what you want to do is take your clay and make a nice flat ground. Next, you're going to take your animal. It's going to live a very long and happy life and eventually die. So he's going to fall on our ground. Over time, minerals and sediments are going to push down on your animal. You're going to use your hands to be those minerals and sediments, and then carefully pull back your animal. That would be like when a real animal dies, all the soft stuff like his skin, his eyes, his insides are going to deteriorate, and only the hard stuff is left behind. That hard stuff leaves an impression, like this. This would be an example of a mold fossil. Now that we know how fossils are made, let's learn what fossils can show us. Do you guys remember the name of the scientists that study fossils? That's right, a paleontologist. When paleontologists were digging here in Nebraska, these were the kind of fossils they were finding. So far, we've only talked about animals leaving fossils, but the truth is, any living organism can leave a fossil. So you'll see over here, we have some plant life that was leaving impressions. Over here, we have shark teeth, we have clams. Now, where would you usually find sharks and clams? That's right, the ocean. Now, does Nebraska have an ocean? No. What we did have was the Western Interior Seaway. So a long time ago, the United States was split apart. Over time, these pieces of land are going to push together. When land gets pushed together, it can form mountains. Can you guys think of mountains that are by Nebraska? That's right, the Rocky Mountains. So what happened over a very long period of time was that seaway is going to get closed off and mountains are going to be formed. So because we found fossils like shark's teeth and clams, paleontologists were able to know that we had sea life at one point in Nebraska. Now let's go take a closer look at a few fossil models here at the museum to see what else we can learn. So this is a model fossil of the Tyrannosaurus. We're going to take a closer look at him and see what we can learn by studying his fossils. The first one. How big do you think he was? If you guess bigger than you, you'd be correct. They could be anywhere from 20 to 40 feet long. Remember, he was that big, long blue guy we pointed out from our light well. We're gonna check out his teeth now that we're closer to him. You'll notice he has two sets, the front set and the back set. What would happen is he'd open his mouth really wide. A fish is going to swim inside, and he'll take his tongue and press that fish up using these back teeth and grind him down to swallow him. We can also guess how big some of that soft stuff was on the animal by the holes it left behind. For example, if you look at this head, how big do you think his eyes were? If you look right here, we have a nice round hole. Paleontologists have to decide if a hole is a missing part of the fossil or if it's meant to be there. In this case, two perfectly round holes are a good indication that's where his eyes were. Let's talk about the brain really quick. So your brain is about the size of two fists put together. It's relative to the size of you. How big do you think his brain is? Give me a big thumbs up. His brain is actually about the size of your thumb, so super tiny. All this guy has to do is swim and eat. He doesn't have to learn all the other things we do. Now we pointed out his sharp teeth, but as we know, not every animal has sharp teeth. This is a mammoth's tooth. If you look really close, you can tell his teeth are just bumpy. If an animal has bumpy teeth like this, they're a plant eater or a herbivore. You have both sets of pointy and flat teeth. With clean hands, see if you can find your pointy teeth. Those are the teeth you use to eat meat. In the back of your mouth, you'll have flat teeth, just like the mammoths that help you eat things like a salad. Those are your plant-eating teeth. Next, let's go check out fossils and see how they can help us determine if an animal lived in the water or if it walked on land. So this is a fin mole of the Tyrannosaurus. If you look closely, you're going to notice it's nice and long, and it's going to look a lot like a fish's fin. So one thing paleontologists have to do is determine what animal the fossils look like. In this case, they're going to tie this guy a lot to an alligator or a crocodile when they start studying him closer. Now your hands, you're able to move him like this. That is because you have little round knuckles in between each of your fingers. If you look back down at him, do you see any round balls between his spots? No. What that means is the animal is either going to fly or swim. And since we know we're talking about the ocean at this point, we know he's going to swim. So now fossils have taught us what the land looked like a long time ago, what an animal ate, how big their eyes or brains were, and if they walked on land or water. One of the main questions we get asked when we talk about fossils at the museum is if the fossils we let you touch are real. Unfortunately, most of them aren't. The reason why is your hands have an oil on them. No matter how many times you wash them, your hands will still have that oil, and that oil can damage fossils. For example, on this clam, we have a big black spot here. That's just from the clam being handled. It's not from anyone purposely trying to harm the fossil. For that reason, a lot of museums will go through and make copies of fossils, and those are what you're allowed to touch. However, we do have one real fossil we want to show you. That's of a trilobite. So here's a model of what he would look like, and then you can compare him next to his fossil. There's two slits up here where his eyes would be, and then you can see part of his back bumps. Trilobites lived on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they would just crawl around slurping down whatever they could to survive. Thanks for watching this Museum Minute. For more online content, visit our website, www.hastingsmuseum.org, or check out our social media pages. Thanks!